Welcome back to Let's Cruise. Discover the wonderful world of cruising with Enjoy the View Travel. Today, we finish up with part 6. All right, so as we are wrapping up our Let's Cruise series, let's talk about the add-ons and the extras. So on top of your cruise fare that includes your room and your meals, there are some optional additions that you can add onto your trip, and then there's some that are not optional. So as we wrap this up, we're going to talk about all those extras. Okay, let's go ahead and get the extra charges that are not optional out of the way. So there are 3 extra charges that are not optional, but that can be included in the total of your cruise pricing, and 2 of them absolutely should be and will be. The taxes and the port fees, they're going to be listed as a separate charge, but those should be included in the quote that you receive from your travel advisor or agent. And then also gratuities. Now, there's 2 ways that gratuities can be handled. Some of the cruise ships will allow you to prepay your gratuities, and it's a set amount. And you can pay for those ahead of time, so they're taken care of. And then if you choose to pay additional to your room steward, your waiter, and those on your wait staff, maybe a favorite bartender that you have, or a favorite bar waiter, then you can choose to do that. The other option, if you don't prepay your gratuities, is they will be added to your onboard account daily. And so that daily amount will show up as a charge on your onboard account if you don't prepay them. So those are the 2 options with the gratuities. Taxes and the port fees. The port fees are used to pay for docking at the ports and help on upkeep at the ports that you are visiting. And occasionally, if you, for some reason, have to miss a port for certain reasons, sometimes those fees are given back to you. But sometimes when you have to miss a port, they will reroute to a different port, and so then they would go to that port. So it's up to the cruise lines whether or not they refund those port fees should you have to miss a port. All right, so let's get into some specifics on add-ons and extras. Some of the options that you have. Now, some of these we have already talked about, some in great detail. I'm just going to highlight those real quickly. But again, remember that your drink package is extra, your Wi-Fi is extra. They do have spa services that are extra. Excursions obviously are extra, and you can choose to do excursions through the ship, or you can choose to do private excursions. I always recommend doing the ones through the ship, of course, just in case you are late getting back, because if it's not a ship excursion, and you may have seen this in the news recently, there was a couple on a cruise that got left. That's been in the news. So they were not on a cruise ship excursion. And even though their excursion partner that they booked through called the ship did not wait on them because it was not, it's not required. And I understand it was, extenuating circumstances, but, and they also have to take into consideration how late they're going to be getting back, because, they have a schedule that they have to keep as well. So again, excursions, I highly recommend that you do the ship excursions if at all possible. Specialty dining is also, all cruise ships now have some type of specialty dining. That's going to be an additional charge. And then also most cruise ships, all cruise ships have laundry services. Whether that is they have a laundry room that you can use to wash, dry, iron your own clothing if you would like, or if you would like for them to do some of your laundry, then you have that option too, and that would be an additional charge. The casino and shopping. Obviously, the casino is going to be a extra charge. The casino you cannot prepay anything for, so you'll either want to bring cash with you. Most of them do have ATMs on board. Please keep in mind there's usually a fee attached with those. You can also, at least with Celebrity, and I'm sure it's this way with other cruise lines as well, we were able to use our card, our SeaPass card, and we could charge it to our room, so our onboard account. I don't believe that there was a fee with that. A friend that went with us did that, and I don't believe that there was a fee added to that one. But that is an option for you if you're not wanting to bring cash for the casino. Some of the casinos offer bingo, and those will be additional as well. And then also some do deal or no deal. That is something else that is additional. You want to pay attention to your cruise line. If they do offer those, sometimes they will allow you to buy cards online, and sometimes you can get them at a discount instead of waiting until on the cruise ship, and then you have to pay the full price for it. So keep an eye on those. Most of the cruise ships now have apps that you can use, and that you have options to purchase those things through the app. So you want to do that. Also on all cruise ships, you have onboard shopping, and those are charged to your room account as well. So those are all additional things that you want to keep in mind. The reason I'm going over all of this is because I'm always asked, well, how much money should I bring? How much money should I bring? I'm giving you your options here so you know what things are available for you to purchase to help you make that decision on how much money. Okay, so this next one may be something that you did not know about, but cruises are notorious for having art auctions. So if you are an avid art lover, they will usually have a couple of art auctions throughout the cruise that you can attend. I know usually one of them is like a champagne art auction. Sometimes you'll receive an invitation to the art auction. So if you decide to purchase a piece during the auction, of course, that would be an additional charge. Now, I am not 100% sure how that works because I've walked through while they're having the art auction before. I've never sat in on a complete art auction. And that might be something that I do next time, just so I can kind of get the feel for that and let you know. But I did not do it this past cruise that I went on. So, I know that they do have a champagne art auction, and you would get a glass of champagne. I did remember hearing somebody talking as we were going through about the shipping option, because obviously you don't take the piece that they're showing with you. You will get one shipped to you. So, and I believe in the price of the art piece that includes the shipping, but don't hold me to that. I could be wrong on that. I just remember overhearing somebody talking about that. And so I think that is true. But it is definitely something, if you are into art, to go and pay attention to, go and see. They have some really lovely pieces, and a couple of pieces that I wouldn't mind actually having in my own home. It's just not something that I've actually participated in on the cruise before. So maybe I'll do that next time so I can give you guys some more information. All right, this is one of my favorites to talk about: pre and post cruise travel. You have to get there and then you have to get back home, right? Okay, so we have options. Let's talk about getting there. You can fly, you can drive, you can take the train now. And we're going to talk about all those. So if you're flying, I do recommend that you fly in the day before. Just too many delays lately, flights canceled, weather issues and whatnot. It's just easier and less stressful for you if you fly in the day before. Okay. If you're going to drive, know that you will have some kind of port parking. There is parking garages at the port, and there are now companies that are away from the port that are a little cheaper, and they offer a shuttle to the port if you want to do that. So that's something to think about, and that's an additional fee that you're going to have for parking. You could also find hotels that have a stay and park option as well. So there is that option also. Princess Cruise Lines has just partnered with Brightline Train for their Orlando, Port Canaveral, and Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades cruising, where you can take the train, and it looks to be a really good option for especially those who live in Florida, and then you could just take the train. So you pay a fee for your baggage when you check in with Brightline, and then they take care of getting it to your room. So when you get off of the train to go to the port, you do not have to worry about your luggage. It is taken care of and taken to the port for you. So you just have to go get to the port. So that's a really good option. I think it also includes a transfer from the train station to the port. So some good options there if you're local. Also some good options if it is cheaper for you to fly into Orlando and you're cruising out of Fort Lauderdale, then you can fly into Orlando and just hop the train down to Fort Lauderdale, or maybe vice versa. Maybe it's cheaper to fly into Fort Lauderdale when you're checking flights and then take the train up to Orlando. I don't think that option is open yet. I think that is coming, but the Orlando to Fort Lauderdale option is there. The other one is coming. And I'm assuming that at some point, I'm trying to think if Princess Cruise is out of Miami. I feel like certain that they do. Then they'll probably add Miami if these two go over well. And I feel like it's going to be a great partnership. So we'll see how that plays out. So that's air, train, and driving. So let's talk about the pre and the post cruise tours and what that means. So if you're flying in the day before, you're obviously going to need a hotel. So I can help take care of that. And then if you're wanting to explore the city, I can help you with different options and tour options there if that's something that you're interested in. Same thing for post cruise. Now, I don't recommend that you have to stay overnight and fly out the next day. Usually cruises come in pretty early, so I recommend flights after noon for the day that you come in to fly home. So those are usually, if your flight is delayed, it's not as big of a deal as when you're going to the cruise, because obviously you don't want to miss the ship leaving. But if you would like to stay on a post-cruise tour, I can help with those options as well. Alaska and Europe are huge markets for the pre and the post cruise tours. Not so much with, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and all of that, because people cruise out of there more often. But definitely with the Alaska and the European cruises, usually those are something that people are interested in. And then the last thing, let's talk about transfers. So all the cruise lines will offer a transfer option from the airport to the cruise terminal, and then from the cruise terminal back to the airport. If you're flying in the day before, obviously that's not going to be an option because they pick up at the airport. And it's usually cheaper for you to just grab an Uber or something from your hotel, or some of the hotels do offer shuttles, but again, it's usually cheaper to grab an Uber. So I will tell you that that's what we did this last time. So we came in on the Brightline train, and as part of you had the option to add in the Uber from the train station to your hotel. So we did that, and then we booked an Uber for the next morning from the hotel to the cruise port, and it worked out beautifully. So that is an option that you have as well. But if you would like to use the transfers for the cruise, and we took the transfer from the cruise port back to Fort Lauderdale Airport, so they did have that option as well. So always look at those transfer options. Your travel advisor should go over that with you. I, of course, will. And those are your pre and post cruise travel options. So the last extra that I want to talk about is travel insurance. And this is one of the most important extras to me. And it's something that I really do not recommend that you leave on your trip without. So let's talk about, first off, why do I need travel insurance? So especially if you are traveling outside of the US, I highly recommend it. It is so costly should something happen and you have a medical emergency. It's going to help cover the expenses should you have to be medevaced off of the cruise ship, should you have to have special emergency transportation home, should you have to go into the hospital in another country. It's going to help with those costs tremendously. Okay, so let's first talk about what are some of the things that it does cover. So based on the policy that you get, it can cover things like trip cancellation, trip interruption, trip delay, missed connections. So if you have those flight issues that we talked about, baggage and personal effects, baggage delay, emergency medical and dental, emergency evacuation that I mentioned earlier, and then there are some upgrade options too. One of those upgrade options is cancel for any reason, and you can add that if you purchase your travel insurance within 10 days of making the deposit on your trip. So, is travel insurance required? It is not required. I do highly recommend it, and if you do book your travel with me and decide not to get travel insurance, I do have a form for you to fill out that says that you are declining travel insurance. That way that's showing that I did offer travel insurance to you and you chose not to take it. So, but that is an option that you have, and I highly, highly recommend it. I had it on my last cruise. Did I have to use it? I absolutely did not. But I am glad that I did have it just in case. We've heard of many, many cases over the years where people have had heart attacks or medical emergencies where they had to be taken off of the ship. In some instances where passengers have passed away while they're on the ship, it can help with those things as well. So I highly recommend travel insurance. And if it's something that you would like to talk about in greater detail and get some additional details from me, I'm more than happy to help you with that. Thanks for hanging out with us during this part of Let's Cruise. Here is all of our contact information if you need to get in contact with us. Also, please remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget you can share to all of your friends and family. And until next time, enjoy the view.